In the outer square of the Qingyang sect, one of the 4 overlords of the Kanglan Dao domain, the atmosphere was electric. The sect, spanning millions of miles and housing countless cultivators, was witnessing what was supposed to be a routine talent test for outer disciples. However, an extraordinary scene was unfolding in the sky. Several high-ranking, powerful figures were glaring at each other, their faces livid with fury. The tension between them crackled like a spark ready to ignite into a full-blown conflict. Among the onlookers, one disciple whispered that the confrontation between the peak masters was terrifying, the pressure so intense that it made breathing difficult. Another marveled at how shocking it was to see the peak masters appear out of nowhere. The true shock, however, was the young man who had caused them to gather, Jiang Chun. The fact that these powerful nascent soul peak masters were vying for him to become their disciple had become the hottest topic of discussion. Yet no one knew that Jiang Chun was a transmigrator. In this talent test, Jiang Chun, who had started as a mere menial worker, had inexplicably attracted the attention of the elders. His talent was revealed to be of divine grade, a status so rare that it instantly elevated him from a lowly worker to someone others could only envy. A girl in the crowd gasped at the revelation, remarking on how incredible a divine grade talent was. A young man compared it to ascending from the ground to the heavens in a single step. But at the center of this storm, Jiang Chun felt only panic. Sweat poured down his face as he pleaded with the elders to stop fighting over him, convinced that this was all a misunderstanding. To understand how things reached this point, we must rewind time. Jiang Chun was born 18 years ago, his mother hoping he would grow up to be an obedient child. However, Jiang Chun was dissatisfied with being reborn in another world, frustrated by the idea of starting life from zero. When he realized he was in a world of cultivation, he imagined himself as one of those peerless demon slayers from the web novels and resolved to start working hard. But his early attempts at cultivating his body were disastrous. He was constantly plagued by bad luck, stung by insects, choked while eating, stabbed by accidents. His life was a series of misfortunes, leading him to wonder why nothing ever went right. One day, a treasure of unparalleled value appeared at Jiang Chun's feet, shining with countless colors and emitting the faint chimes of the great Tao. But even then, he was pressed to the ground by the treasure's overwhelming pressure and could only watch helplessly as it was taken away. This wasn't the first time such misfortune had befallen him. Jiang Chun seemed cursed to always encounter great opportunities, only to be unable to grasp them. After years of enduring this, Jiang Chun had all but given up. Then, a glimmer of hope appeared. He was chosen as an outer disciple, one of the 100 selected from nearly 100,000 menial workers. It was an unbelievable stroke of luck, the first in 18 years, and Jiang Chun dared to hope that his fortunes were finally changing. On the day of the talent test, however, things went awry. When it was Jiang Chun's turn, his talent didn't react at all. The elder overseeing the test told him to step aside, as there was a long line behind him. Jiang Chun begged for another chance, convinced that the wind or some other force had interfered. But the elder, in his 1,000 years of experience, had never seen someone with such poor results. He dismissed Jiang Chun as unqualified. Just as Jiang Chun resigned himself to his fate, the talent stone emitted a faint ding. Jiang Chun wondered if it was a system notification, but the system, if it could even be called that, was almost entirely useless. It only confirmed what he already knew. His ill luck was too strong. Frustrated, Jiang Chun exerted his strength on the stone, accidentally causing it to shatter. This was no ordinary stone. It was forged by a mystical grade master from meteorite iron and was nearly indestructible, even for a cultivator at the foundation stage. Yet Jiang Chun, the unluckiest transmigrator in history, had just shattered it, achieving a new level of misfortune he didn't want. As the other candidates begin to murmur, they wonder if he shattered the talent stone because of his lack of qualifications. They worry about how they'll continue testing now that it's broken. Some speculate he might have to go to jail for this crime or serve as a menial worker in the sect for the rest of his life as compensation. He starts imagining a life in jail, shackled and surrounded by spider webs, and given his tendency for bad luck, he feels certain that this is his fate. He definitely doesn't want to be the protagonist who ends up in jail. The elder, clearly astonished, remarks that the talent stone hasn't broken like this in 1,000 years. The protagonist, still caught up in his fear, blurts out that he doesn't want to go to jail. His shock deepens when the elder instead asks if he wants to become his disciple. A nearby candidate questions the Golden Core elder, wondering why he would make such an offer. The protagonist, Jiang, is equally puzzled, as he had fully expected to be sent to jail. The elder explains that, according to ancient records, the talent stone had shattered once before, 10,000 years ago, when it couldn't handle someone's overwhelming potential. That individual was evaluated as divine grade and became an unparalleled genius, ultimately becoming a direct disciple. There are many speculations about what happened to that person. Some say he ascended to the immortal realm, while others believe he was struck down by a forbidden thunder tribulation, dying without hope of rebirth. Jiang can't fathom being compared to such a legendary figure. Meanwhile, the elder contemplates his own fate. He has been stuck at the golden core stage, third layer, for hundreds of years, with his life nearing its end. He sees in Jiang an opportunity for an immortal breakthrough, a chance even the sect leader wouldn't challenge. The elder then orders Jiang to follow him, declaring that Jiang is the first divine grade talent in 10,000 years, and offering him all of his resources if Jiang agrees to become his disciple. The crowd is stunned, questioning whether Jiang is truly a divine grade talent, and if he resembles that ancient monster. Exhausted, Jiang insists that the stone shattered because of his bad luck and begs everyone to stop labeling him as a divine grade. He refuses the elder's guidance, fearing that if he fails despite having so many resources, the elder will be furious with him. Suddenly, a lightning storm erupts, and the elder declares it a heavenly phenomenon, shocked that it is focused directly on Jiang. The elder muses that Jiang's potential might exceed even that of the ancient genius and begins to think that the lightning is a warning against his own greed. He then admits that he is unworthy to be Jiang's master, though Jiang rejects this thought in his mind. People around them murmur, wondering if this heavenly phenomenon is truly related to the divine grade and if Jiang's potential is genuinely beyond that. Jiang, however, fears that this misunderstanding could become a massive problem in the future, given his bad luck. Suddenly, the unlucky system reappears with a bad omen. The system informs Jiang that he doesn't belong in this world and has dared to step onto the path of cultivation. His bad luck has peaked, summoning a sea of lightning. The system reveals that this is a punishment, not a heavenly phenomenon, and that Jiang is cursed. A curse so powerful that even immortals cannot break it. The curse ensures that all the spiritual energy he cultivates will be automatically dissipated. Jiang, distressed, questions why he's even in this world if he can't cultivate. He worries that the heavens are punishing him for merely absorbing a small amount of spiritual energy. As the lightning storm intensifies, Jiang is horrified to see the lightning strike directly at him. The elder exclaims that this is destructive lightning and wonders what exactly has befallen Jiang. Exhausted and in pain, Jiang contemplates whether he's about to die, suffering from broken meridians due to a curse. He thinks that this feels like the plot of a comedy manhwa, where bad luck is relentless. As his consciousness begins to fade, Jiang feels the despair of losing his cultivation potential and realizes that the heavens are far beyond his expectations. The elder, however, is still convinced that Jiang's potential surpasses even the legendary divine grade. Just then, the system reappears and informs Jiang that his body is being rejuvenated by the lightning, effectively rebirthing him. His attributes have increased, his meridians are recovering, and the destructive lightning is dissipating. Jiang suddenly feels a rush of vitality. The thunder that descended due to the curse of the heavenly Tao nearly caused Jiang to perish on the spot. Despite the near-fatal strike, his strength was enhanced, and his body restored. He marvels at how a dire situation has somehow turned into an advantage, almost like something out of a legend. The system informs him that his dantian has been restored, though the curse has doubled in intensity, granting him invincible attributes. Spiritual energy begins to converge towards his dantian, permeating through his meridians. He realizes that his grim situation reversed somehow. System notify him that he reached first stage of chi refinement, with the curse of the heavenly Tao now reversed and everything amplified. The elder, observing the process, remarks that the spiritual energy pouring into Jiang is a sign of the brilliance of guiding chi into the body. He also notes that the cleansing of Jiang's muscles by the thunder granted by the heavenly Tao is nothing short of incredible. Meanwhile, the system informs Jiang that he has quickly advanced to the second stage of chi refinement, then the middle stage and finally the peak. Jiang speculates that his cultivation is reversing, as he's managed to raise it by 3 layers in such a short time. Unlike others who cultivate by harnessing spiritual energy, Jiang realizes he only needs something akin to poison gas or thunder power to disperse the energy and strengthen his body. He begins to wonder if he can still activate the curse to further amplify his power. According to the principles of reverse cultivation, The more severe the injury, the stronger the amplification. Jiang starts to see the curse in a new light, appreciating its potential, even though he was disappointed at first. He considers provoking golden core or nascent soul cultivators, destroying their cultivation, to make them attack him, thus accelerating his own cultivation. However, the system warns him that while the curse's effect is time-consuming, if he dies instantly, the curse wouldn't have time to activate. Furious, Jiang thinks this plan might not work after all. The elder expresses his excitement, suggesting that the Qingyang sect might produce an immortal within the next 1,000 years. He predicts that the Qingyang sect will become dominant, with no rival among the 4 overlords of the Kanglan Dao domain. Jiang, however, believes it's a big misunderstanding that they think of him as a divine-grade talent. Despite Jiang's refusal to become his disciple, the elder assures Jiang that he will appeal to the sect to provide Jiang with ample resources and treasures. He adds that from now on, drinking from spiritual springs and feasting on fierce beasts will be commonplace for Jiang. But Jiang, thinking the elder truly considers him a legendary talent, fears he will be doomed to endless calamities if he is showered with such resources and treasures. Just as Jiang is trembling and about to refuse, another thunder serpent descends, seemingly intent on annihilating him. The thunder strike nearly destroys Jiang, and the system reports that while his body is in shambles, the curse has strengthened, granting him a +20 increase in physical strength. His cultivation rises to the 4th stage of refinement, although 10 strands of his spiritual energy dissipate due to the destructive thunder power. Jiang reflects that cultivation is a mix of pain and joy, as the more ruthless the strike, the higher the rise. He even wonders if he might become a masochist at this rate. Meanwhile, the sect members begin to gossip about what's happening, doubting the rapid rise in Jiang's cultivation since it took them several years to reach the qi refinement 1st stage. They question whether his abilities are indeed those of a divine-grade talent. Jiang feels the need to clarify the rumors about him being a divine-grade talent. Otherwise, he'll be forced to consume spiritual pills in large quantities. He ponders why he's continuously being labeled a talent. The elder then turns the attention to Elder Tianshan, one of the 30 peak masters and at the 3rd level of nascent soul. Tianshan remarks that such an unexpected talent is a sign of prosperity for the Qingyang sect and that teaching this talent requires someone at the nascent soul stage, like himself. He allows Jiang to freely choose from peak-level spiritual treasures until he officially joins the sect, suggesting he establish himself as a true disciple with the resources of 1 peak at his disposal. Tianshan also offers Jiang an unparalleled foundation in the next realm and promises to prepare him for immortality. But his statement further complicates Jiang's feelings. He thinks it might be exhilarating to use the cultivation resources, but he also worries about the potential dangers due to his cursed status. He apologizes to Master Tianshan, explaining that he needs more time to think it over since his cultivation path is uncertain, and taking a master now would be premature. The other masters are shocked, wondering if Jiang is in his right mind to reject a senior nascent soul cultivator, having already turned down both the Golden Core Elder and Tianshan. Jiang is determined not to let them groom him into a monster, deciding to rely solely on the Heaven's Curse to level up. Elder Tianshan, feeling slighted, asks if Jiang considers him unqualified to impart knowledge, offering to invite his own master, Taoist Tianyang, if necessary. Jiang quickly tries to explain that this isn't the case, but before he can, another voice speaks up. It's Peak Master Ziyun. Ziyun points out that his peak's overall strength is much greater than Tianshan's, and that his expertise in the Path of Thunder could greatly benefit Jiang. He offers Jiang top-grade elixirs from Ziyun Peak, boasting that several elders under his command have reached the realm of perfect refinement. The situation escalates as a female master joins the fray, noting that Elder Ziyun too wishes to take Jiang as a disciple. She speculates that another peak master might soon arrive. Jiang, now overwhelmed, wonders why they keep coming one after another. An old witch peak master also tried to recruit. She says their rush to take in the disciple is quite unexpected. She offers Jiang Chun to choose one of the 3,000 female disciples as his cultivation companion. She wouldn't talk about any nonsense until he is willing to join her sect. Another peak master arrives following her. He says that she is trying to tempt the disciples of his Qingyang sect with beauty. Perhaps she is planning to deceive people. He reveals that he is invincible within the nascent soul stage. He has been cultivating the way of thunder for 3,000 years. Being infused with the thunder sea, he told Jiang that his future achievements in thunder will surpass even his own. Meanwhile, Jiang is thinking why they are coming one after another. She says that following his talent is just like relying on brute force to solve problems. He can't be like her, seductive and beautiful. He asks her if he should use his beauty to bewitch others. He says that her divine talent of entering the Jade Maiden Peak, with 3,000 enchanting beauties on her side, would be ruined and wasted. Tianshan counters, claiming that no one can teach disciples better than he can, urging the others to stop arguing. Ziyun responds by recounting his own achievements, starting cultivation at age 3, reaching the first stage of qi refinement by 10, and forming the foundation by 16. He became an elder at 24 after reaching the golden core stage. Confidently, he declares that Jiang will choose him to avoid any losses. The spectators are stunned, struggling to believe that so many elders and peak masters are competing over one disciple. Jiang finds himself at the center of an intense showdown, with all eyes on him. As the situation escalates, he requests the elders and peak masters to stop their bickering. The Golden Core Elder finds it unbelievable that so many powerful figures are ready to clash over Jiang. He once considered competing with them, but the overwhelming disparity in their strengths forced him to abandon the idea. Meanwhile, the other test candidates murmur among themselves, frustrated that they haven't been given a chance to complete their tests. No one pays attention to them when a heavenly talent like Jiang appears, drawing the interest of all the peak masters who want him as their disciple. Jiang reflects that if he had been treated this way in the past, he would have been overjoyed. But now, as the competition among the peak masters intensifies, he realizes it will only lead to greater trouble down the line. He doesn't even consider himself a regular talent, and the continuation of the situation is bound to create more complications. He decides to step back, focusing on improving his own cultivation instead of getting caught up in their struggle. Adopting an ostrich-like avoidance strategy, he waits for another lightning strike to hit him. Suddenly, the balance of nature shifts, signaling the arrival of a powerful figure. The Qingyang sect leader, Li Chongqing, makes his appearance, stunning Jiang and the 4 peak masters. The sect leader remarks that as the mainstay of the Qingyang sect, overseeing one of the 36 peaks, their argument in the outer sect square is unseemly. The peak masters quickly apologize for their behavior. The old witch dismisses their actions, claiming they weren't fighting but merely discussing how best to teach a heavenly talent. Tianshan responds angrily, questioning her qualifications. The sect leader, acknowledging their eagerness to take Jiang as a disciple, commands them to cease their argument. He emphasizes that heavenly talents are incredibly rare and that it's inappropriate for mere nascent souls to teach such a prodigy. When he asks for the peak master's opinions, they remain silent. The sect leader then declares that he is the most suitable to teach Jiang, citing his ability to connect with the younger generation. Despite defeating opponents at the deity transformation realm, he is still young and strong, making him an ideal mentor. The peak masters are stunned by his statement, masking their frustration with polite smiles. Jiang, who initially thought the sect leader came to calm the situation, realizes with dismay that he has joined the fray. The old witch chimes in, referencing incidents in Zhongzhou that suggest the sect leader's impulsiveness often leads to trouble. She argues that the Qingyang sect's glory hinges on training Jiang to become a qualified leader, not just a powerful warrior. Tianshan agrees, stressing the need for a mature leader for the sect. The sect leader considers their opinions but insists that a heavenly talent like Jiang, who only appears once in 10,000 years, should not be limited by being taught solely by nascent souls. If Jiang doesn't shine in the Tianyu realm or ascend to the immortal realm, the entire Qingyang sect will bear the blame. A slight mistake could lead to everlasting infamy. The Golden Core Elder offers to bear this infamy himself, but the sect leader refuses, stating that he has already decided to take on the responsibility alone, even if Jiang fails in the future. He challenges the masters to voice any objections, but they remain silent, unwilling to contest his decision. Jiang can't believe the sect leader's shamelessness. As the conversation concludes, the peak masters exchange glances and fall silent. The sect leader then asks Jiang if he is willing to become his disciple, promising to teach him everything and match the resources offered by the other peak masters. He assures Jiang that upon reaching the deity transformation stage, he will personally join forces with the supreme elders to obtain a heavenly spiritual weapon for him. Jiang, searching for a reason to refuse, worries that if his true cultivation level is revealed, still at the 4th stage of qi refinement, the sect leader might expel him. He fears that consuming too many resources might even cause his cultivation to regress. To navigate this tricky situation, Jiang presents the sect leader with 3 conditions. The sect leader, eager to secure Jiang as his disciple, agrees without hesitation, even offering to fulfill 30 conditions if necessary. Jiang's first condition is that the sect leader must acknowledge that he is not a heavenly talent, nor even a genius. He warns that his future achievements might be modest, asking how the sect leader would react in such a case. The sect leader swears to the heavens that it wouldn't be a problem, promising that even if Jiang's cultivation is entirely wasted, no one would dare harm him. The sect leader thinks Jiang is pretending to be weak but agrees to the condition nonetheless. Jiang's second condition is that the sect leader must make a heavenly oath that Jiang won't have to worry about being discarded. He insists on gathering all his own resources and forbids the sect leader from using any spiritual medicine on him. The sect leader interprets this as Jiang wanting to rely solely on his hard work, which might make him seem like an unhelpful master. However, he accepts it, reasoning that Jiang wishes to forge his own path. The sect leader decides to focus on his own cultivation and the many enemies in Zhongzhou, believing that a master should guide the way, but the journey is up to the individual. For his third condition, Jiang asks the sect leader to make a formal oath to heaven and earth, guaranteeing all the promises he has made. As the sect leader of Qingyang sect looks at Jiang Chan, he asks with a mix of curiosity and caution if he really wants him to make an official oath to heaven and earth. Jiang, unwavering, nods in affirmation, stating that only after the oath will he accept the sect leader as his master. The sect leader pauses, contemplating the gravity of such a request. If Jiang's cultivation progress slows down in the future and how he will manage to discipline him effectively. He recalls his own harsh experiences, being beaten by his master until he doubted his own resolve. The thought of having a disciple he can't scold or punish weighs heavily on him, and what if this oath results in him being struck by lightning? Despite these reservations, the sect leader resolves to accept the risk. Securing Jiang as his disciple, even at the cost of making such a dangerous vow, is essential, especially if it means he can eventually pass on the responsibilities of the sect leader to someone else. Determined to seize the opportunity, the sect leader agrees to all of Jiang's conditions. With resolve, he makes a solemn oath to heaven and earth, swearing that he will never force Jiang Chan to consume any elixirs, and that he will never abandon him, even if his cultivation stagnates or is crippled. Jiang thanks the sect leader, relieved that the oath has been made. He feels a sense of security now, knowing that his life is protected by this heavenly vow. After completing the oath, the sect leader proudly announces that Jiang Chan will now be the young sect leader, effectively passing the mantle of leadership to him. He instructs the peak masters to manage the sect's major affairs among themselves, indicating that they should no longer trouble him with daily matters. The crowd, hearing this announcement, is left in shock. The implications are clear. Jiang Chan is now the heir to the Qingyang sect. Suddenly, a familiar chime echoes in Jiang's mind and a notification from the system appears. Jiang feels a surge of anger, knowing that such notifications usually bring trouble. The message reads that when the sect leader made his oath, it alarmed the heavens. Initially, the heavens had planned to unleash the 10,000-mile sea of lightning but hesitated. Realizing their oversight, the heavens dispatched the spirit of lightning, now preparing to strike Jiang with the full might of the 10,000-mile sea of lightning. The system notes that Jiang has made history by invoking a heavenly tribulation while still in the Qi refinement realm, a feat that has never occurred before. Jiang is filled with dread, thinking that he's about to be obliterated simply for having the sect leader swear an oath to heaven and earth. He wonders if the transformation of the lightning sea into a tribulation will completely destroy him. He feels weak and powerless in the face of such overwhelming forces, yet he resolves to resist. Jiang is determined to fight back, even if it means standing against the heavens themselves. Meanwhile, the spectators are baffled by the strange phenomenon, noting that the sound of the lightning is anything but ordinary. Jiang, however, is focused on breaking free from all limitations, intending to suppress even the will of the heavens if necessary. The peak masters, watching in disbelief, recognize the destructive aura surrounding Jiang. Elder Ziyun speaks up, pointing out that this is no mere celestial phenomenon. It's a true lightning tribulation. The sect leader, equally perplexed, questions whether this is indeed a heavenly tribulation, especially considering that Jiang is only at the 4th heavenly layer of the Qi refinement realm. Despite this, Jiang is receiving the kind of divine retribution usually reserved for Golden Core cultivators. The Golden Core elder chimes in, suggesting that the heavens and earth have descended this tribulation upon Jiang because his talent is so extraordinary that it qualifies him as a heavenly talent. Such a situation is unheard of. The elder is astonished by the fact that this prodigious talent has now become the disciple of the Qingyang sect's master. As the lightning strikes Jiang, the pain is excruciating, as if his body is being torn apart. His physical form begins to collapse, and his consciousness starts to fade. But just as quickly as his body is battered, it begins to recover, regenerating and gaining strength at an incredible rate. The system informs Jiang that he has endured the ultimate lightning tribulation while still in the qi refinement realm, which has shattered his meridians and nearly collapsed his physical body. Yet, despite the devastation, his body has strengthened to a staggering 500 kilograms, and his spiritual energy has recondensed to 5 times its previous amount. His cultivation has skyrocketed, breaking through to the 5th layer of the qi refinement realm. Jiang is elated, realizing that he has reached the maximum physical strength limit for this realm. Jiang marvels at the power of the lightning tribulation, thinking that if he could endure 10 more rounds of this, he might even break through to the 9th layer. He realizes that only a handful of cultivators in the entire Tianyu world could achieve such a rapid breakthrough. With this newfound strength, Jiang now sees the possibility of reaching the Grand Ascension realm in the future. The Golden Core Elder, watching in disbelief, is astounded. It's outrageous, he thinks, that the lightning tribulation seems so weak. Not only is Jiang unscathed, but his cultivation is also rising rapidly. For most cultivators, surviving a heavenly tribulation is a life-or-death struggle. But for Jiang, it seems like an endless supply of power. The sect leader shares in the confusion, recalling how he himself had nearly perished while overcoming his own deity transformation tribulation. Now, he begins to wonder if he is truly worthy of being Jiang's master. As the lightning tribulation nears its end, the dark clouds begin to dissipate, signaling that the trial is almost over. Jiang's cultivation growth slows, a clear sign that the tribulation is drawing to a close. His physical strength has doubled, now reaching 1,000 kilograms, and his cultivation has soared to the 7th layer of the qi refinement realm. Jiang reflects on the nature of lightning tribulations, thinking that if they're all like this, they won't pose any real hindrance to his path to immortality. His potential now seems limitless. The peak masters, witnessing this incredible display, are in awe. They see Jiang challenging the lightning tribulation with no fear of death. They speculate that perhaps Jiang has forgotten that the heavens are behind these trials. Above, the heavens themselves seem provoked by Jiang's defiance. A thunderstorm begins to brew, as if commanded by the heavens. The previous lightning punishment was merely a warning. Now, it appears the heavens are preparing to unleash their full wrath to erase Jiang from existence. The skies above turn ominous as lightning snakes converge, forming a massive, terrifying sea of lightning that seems almost unreal. The peak masters, watching from below, are incredulous, unable to comprehend the magnitude of what's happening. The sect leader, his voice tinged with both awe and fear, admits that there has never been a precedent for such a phenomenon. He speculates that the lightning punishment may have transformed into a lightning spirit, an entity containing the very essence of the lightning Tao. And it is a dangerous and ominous sign. Realizing the gravity of the situation, the sect leader swiftly orders the Golden Core Elder to evacuate the menial disciples, ensuring their safety. The old witch, one of the sect's most powerful figures, acknowledges the severity of the disaster. She remarks that many arrogant heavenly talents in the past have faced despair before such a lightning spirit, their bodies destroyed and their Tao extinguished, leaving behind only tales of caution and tragedy. The sect leader, feeling both regret and anger, had never expected Jiang to provoke such a catastrophic lightning punishment. He recognizes that Jiang's talent is monstrous, far beyond anything he could have anticipated. He feels fortunate to have accepted Jiang into the sect as the young sect leader, yet now he is filled with fury and concern, wondering how Jiang will possibly survive this overwhelming tribulation. Meanwhile, Jiang, exhausted and overwhelmed by the intense suppression and unimaginable danger, realizes that the exhilaration of showing off was fleeting. Now he must face the true wrath of the heavens with everything he has. The sky above Qingyang sect is torn apart by a raging sea of lightning, casting an ominous glow over the sect. A solemn, murderous aura fills the air, and the sheer scale of the thunder tribulation, which has now become a spirit, strikes fear into the hearts of all the Qingyang disciples witnessing the spectacle. Word of this terrifying event spreads rapidly across the outer square and beyond. In mere moments, every disciple, both outer and inner, including the direct disciples, has heard the astonishing news. Jiang Chun, the man whose name has now become legend, Zhang's rise from a mere outer disciple, shattering the talent stone during his evaluation, and being declared to possess the rare divine talent by an elder, has become the talk of the entire sect. Everyone knows his name now, especially because many elders, and even the sect leader himself, have come forward, asking Jiang Chun to become their disciple. It's a view that no one expected to see on the very peaks of the Qingyang sect. One junior brother, watching all this unfold, can't help but call Jiang Chun a bit of a dramatic character. I mean, the sect leader himself bowed down to recruit him, after all. He points out with a smirk. Sure, Jiang might possess divine talent, but at the end of the day he's still only at the qi refining stage, far from unbeatable. Then there's Li Chongqing, the sect leader himself, who remains curious about who among the elders would even want to take Jiang as a disciple. A junior sister nearby offers her 2 cents, explaining that divine talent, while impressive, isn't everything. Having a powerful innate body constitution is far more important, she insists. Take senior brother Shenfeng, for instance. His Yinming body allows him to control the very Yin forces of the world. If the junior brother wanted to fight Jiang Chun, she argues, he wouldn't be at much of a disadvantage. After all, he's at the peak of the foundation stage and has already fought against Golden Core rogue cultivators. No big deal. She goes on, if Shenfeng becomes the sect master, you'll definitely gain the support of the masses. Besides, even though Jiang Chen's talents are special, his master can't be ignored. The junior brother, not missing a beat, adds, sure, Shenfeng is strong, but he's nothing compared to our eldest senior sister. Though she spent the last 2 years focused solely on cultivation, the eldest sister has already mastered the ancient immortal inheritance using her miraculous methods. He's confident that she'll suppress Shenfeng in the future and secure her spot as the future sect master. Her progress has been astonishing, joining the Qingyang sect just 5 years ago and advancing from Qi refinement stage 3 to the foundation stage great completion. Now, she's nearing the golden core stage, and when she breaks through, she'll be unbeatable. Still, despite her rapid progress, the junior brother dismisses any threat from Jiang. Jiang might have his divine talent, but he's only at the 4th level of Qi refinement. He's got no chance to challenge me or Qing Tian for the sect master spot. Taking that position won't be easy for him. The junior sister agrees, noting that while Jiang might have talent, he lacks maturity. In the junior brother's mind, he's already plotting ways to publicly challenge Jiang and humiliate him when the time is right. Ah, the joys of rivalry. Meanwhile, the eldest sister, Mu Rongling, stands as the Qingyang sect's great disciple. After 5 years, her realm remains at the foundation stage, but in her eyes, this progress is a mere fraction of what she's capable of. The spiritual energy in this world is too thin for her. In her previous life, Mu Rongling had reached the realm of a great emperor, akin to the immortals of the Tianyu world. She was ambushed during a great battle for world domination by an old enemy, and though she fell in that life, she was reincarnated into this one as a mortal with no cultivation. Talk about a downgrade. Despite this setback, Mu Rongling never gave up. She fought her way into Qingyang sect, obtained the cultivation methods of the Tianyu world, and slowly began to recover her power. Although her current cultivation speed is faster than ordinary cultivators, for her, it's still not fast enough. With more resources, she believes she could break through to the nascent soul stage in no time. For now, she's preparing to push into the golden core stage and compete for the title of sect master. After all, it's the fastest way to advance, and she has no time to waste. Her true enemy isn't even from this world. Her thoughts are interrupted by the sound of her jade pendant, transmitting a message. It informs her of the phenomenon that appeared during the outer sect test. A young man evaluated to have the legendary divine talent. The sect leader himself rushed to take the boy as his disciple, and the elders were even willing to fight each other over him. Moreover, the sect leader has already decided to assign Jiang Chun the position of young sect leader. Mu Rongling is shocked. A junior brother? And he's already been made young sect leader? She wonders aloud. But instead of anger or jealousy, she dismisses the news. After all, it's only thanks to Master Li Chongqing that she has progressed as far as she has. It would be a shame for him if Jiang were to lose the title. And besides, as his senior sister, it won't be hard for her to request some resources from him when needed. The position is insignificant, she tells herself, fully intent on continuing her cultivation in peace. Back at the Qingyang sect outer square, the elders are growing increasingly uneasy as the thunder tribulation continues to rage on. The Golden Core elder turns to the sect leader, asking if they should intervene to save Jiang Chun. Li Chongqing, the sect leader, responds with conviction. Zhang Chun is the future of the Qingyang sect. Nothing can happen to him. The elder agrees, stating that the wrath of the lightning tribulation must be faced, but Zhang cannot be lost. The sect leader turns to his fellow Taoists, asking them to prepare for battle. His overwhelming sword formation shakes the very air, leaving Master Ziyun stunned by the level of power the sect leader has reached. Meanwhile, Zhang Chun watches in awe, realizing that the sect leader truly is as powerful as the legends say, strong enough to resist the lightning tribulation without taking any damage. Still, Zhang knows he must endure this trial alone for the sake of his own cultivation. Despite the thunderous wrath of the lightning tribulation, Zhang believes he can use the curse's inversion effect to strengthen his body, surpassing other qi refining stage cultivators. It's an opportunity to break through to the foundation stage. He steps forward, requesting that the sect leader allow him to face the tribulation alone. Shocked, the sect leader hesitates, but Zhang insists, saying he is no ordinary divine talent. He has his own path. Relying on others would leave scars on his heart, preventing him from achieving greatness in the future. If this tribulation isn't overcome alone, it will haunt me forever, he explains. The Golden Core Elder, seeing Zhang's resolve, agrees, warning the others that helping him now would only ruin his future potential. Still, some wonder how Zhang, at only the 4th qi refining stage, could hope to withstand the lightning spirit. A master expresses concern that if they don't intervene, Zhang may fall. But, at the same time, if they help, they could hinder his growth. The sect leader, though reluctant, eventually withdraws his sword formation. If Zhang wants to face the tribulation alone, then I cannot stop him, he declares. But if there's danger, I'll step in. With that, Zhang prepares to endure the wrath of the heavens, determined to prove his strength. Even if everyone else is a bit too confident in him. Zhang had finally managed to convince the sect leader to step back and let him face the lightning tribulation alone. But despite his resolve, the absurdity of the situation weighed heavily on him. This wasn't just any normal tribulation. This was a storm of wrath, summoned by the heavens themselves. A lightning bird screeched above him as the overwhelming bolts of lightning snaked across the sky, their intensity growing exponentially. Our boy couldn't believe what he was seeing. The heavens were truly and absurdly enraged. The symbols of the lightning tribulation had formed and were ready to strike. A terrifying realization dawned on Zhang. If anyone from the sect attempted to help him, they would immediately be swept into the destructive range of this heavenly punishment. He was on his own. Tough luck. If, by some miracle, he survived this trial, future tribulations, like the one awaiting him at the Golden Core stage, might carry over to an immortal level challenge. But then the sky changed again. A new, overwhelming symbol formed within the sea of lightning. A massive, celestial dragon head appeared, gazing down at the earth like it was all a joke. Talk about a power move from the heavens. As if that weren't enough, the lightning to the west had morphed into a vicious white tiger, emanating pure murderous intent. Next to it, a black tortoise hovered in the clouds, looking drowsy but certainly not harmless. And finally, even the ever-present vermilion bird had evolved, its form now sharper and more menacing than ever. Everyone, from the inner disciples to the sect elders, was left speechless. Even the sect leader, whose power was legendary, stood there in shock. All 4 symbols of the heavenly tribulation were here, for colossal divine beasts looming above the Qingyang sect as if they were here to annihilate the whole place. If that doesn't scream bad day, what will? Zhang, on the other hand, wasn't as much shocked as he was confused. Why had this escalated? His system promptly informed him that the heavens were furious. Li Chongqing and the elders had triggered this by trying to intervene. Now, the 4 symbols were ready to obliterate Zhang in just 30 breaths. If his body couldn't withstand it, he would be instantly destroyed, and his heavenly curse would be useless. His only hope was to dive into the heart of the tribulation, push his cultivation to the 8th layer of the qi refining stage, and boost his body strength to 1,500 kilograms. Reaching the 9th layer would give him a 50% chance of survival. Not the best odds, but hey, it's better than 0. He realized, painfully, that the sect leader's good intentions had only made things worse. It seemed his master's interference had royally screwed him over. Meanwhile, the sect's 4 nascent soul masters were equally confused. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The 4 symbols were reserved for those about to become immortals. Zhang was just a disciple at the qi refining stage. One of the masters even joked, Did Jiang dig up heaven's ancestral graves in a past life? Jiang wasn't sure, but the situation did make him wonder if his identity as a transmigrator had been found out by the heavens. The intensity of a lightning tribulation was supposed to match one's cultivation, but any interference would increase its power. Jiang began to question whether he could even survive the 4 symbols of heavenly tribulation. Many brilliant cultivators had tried and failed, even after cultivating for thousands of years. The sect leader, realizing the danger, quickly issued orders. He commanded the masters to wake the old ancestor from his seclusion and activate the mountain protection array. The Qingyang sect was about to be dragged into this tribulation, whether they liked it or not. If they didn't take precautions, not just Jiang, but everyone could be obliterated. The masters transformed into rays of divine light and rushed toward the 36 peaks. Their mission clear: wake up the ancestors who were deep in training, even those hidden in the forbidden areas. Meanwhile, Jiang understood the severity of the situation. The lightning tribulation had grown beyond what he had anticipated, and if it continued, the entire Qingyang sect could be implicated because of him. He had no choice but to take matters into his own hands. First, he needed to raise his cultivation to the 8th layer of the qi refining stage to have any real shot at surviving this ordeal. Gathering his courage, Jiang proposed an idea to the sect leader: send him directly into the sky, away from the sect on a flying vessel. It was his tribulation, and there was no need for the entire sect to suffer its effects. The sect leader refused Jiang's suggestion. Jiang assured him that as long as he could face the tribulation at its center, high above the sect wouldn't be affected. He had faith in his ability to overcome it. If he wanted to survive and grow stronger in this world, he had to take this chance. The sect leader, weighing the safety of millions in the Qingyang sect, made a difficult decision. He agreed to Jiang's plan, though reluctantly. Before Jiang ascended, the sect leader handed him a jade pendant, an emergency tool. If Jiang ran out of strength, all he had to do was shatter the pendant, and the sect leader would rush in to obliterate the tribulation. The sect leader also provided some spiritual water, which would help Jiang recover his spiritual power during the battle, giving him some extra time. Jiang thanked him, but the sect leader, with a heavy heart, admitted that he didn't know how to defeat the 4 symbols. Nevertheless, he promised that if anything went wrong, he would protect Jiang with his life. Talk about a master willing to go the extra mile. Jiang's system chimed in once again, informing him that Li Changqing was fully prepared to sacrifice himself for Jiang's sake. The realization struck Jiang deeply. No one had ever done anything like this for him, not even in his previous life. The sect leader's willingness to protect him, no matter the cost, reminded him of the warmth of family. It stirred something within Jiang, a sense of belonging and loyalty. He promised the sect leader that there was no need for such a sacrifice. If he could break through to the 9th layer, he had a 50% chance of survival. That was good enough for him. With a heavy heart, the sect leader gave the command, and Jiang was sent into the sky aboard the flying vessel. Jiang looked at the raging storm above, confident that no matter how terrifying this lightning tribulation was, he would survive. Thanks to the heavenly curse's reversal effect, this would be the moment he proved himself, to the sect leader, to the Qingyang sect, and to the heavens themselves. It was time for Jiang Chun to make his mark. The Golden Core Elder couldn't hide his concern, asking Li Changqing if he was really sure about sending Jiang into the heart of the 4-symbol lightning tribulation. After all, Jiang had the potential to become the future hope of the Qingyang sect. How could they just let him face death like this? The elder reminded Li Changqing that the sect leader was well aware that many eyes were watching the Kanglin Dao domain. He urged him to stop the flying vessel, saying there was still time. After all, only Jiang could protect their inheritance, and they had to act before it was too late. Li Changqing remained firm. He assured the elder that everything was under control. Jiang wouldn't die, and he wouldn't let him die either. Jiang was his disciple after all. Even if he hadn't yet taught Jiang anything, he was still responsible for him. The nascent soul ancestors, who were observing the situation, couldn't help but speculate whether Jiang could truly survive the 4-symbol heavenly tribulation. Master Tianshan sarcastically commented that it seemed like Jiang was just fooling around. He shouted to the old ancestors, calling for them to wake up from their seclusion. "Wake up! The Qingyang sect is about to be destroyed," he yelled, his voice filled with urgency. In the forbidden area, ancient auras began to stir, faintly emerging between heaven and earth. The powerhouses of the Kanglin Dao domain felt a strange disturbance. Confused, one of the old ancestors asked what was happening at the Qingyang sect. Why were so many old auras resurfacing? Was it because Li Chongqing was about to break through to the Grand Ascension realm? Were they protecting him? The ancestor ordered an investigation to get to the bottom of it. Elsewhere, other old ancestors also sensed the four great divine beasts' aura and began speculating about the situation. Was someone in the Qingyang sect undergoing the heavenly tribulation for enlightenment? One of them suggested sending someone weak to check it out, just in case. In the Zhongzhou sect, another old ancestor also felt the phenomenon occurring in the Kanglin Dao domain, noticing the appearance of the four symbols of heavenly tribulation. He wondered if it was related to one of the ancient cultivators who had mastered a particular inheritance. He found the situation quite interesting and wondered what would happen if the new sect leader of Qingyang became immortal. In his musings, he recalled the conquest they led in ancient times, noting that although the factions weren't united, a newly ascended immortal wouldn't be able to handle them. His solution: kill him and divide the inheritance. But there was a lingering doubt: would his fellow old ancestors let him do so? He knew he wasn't as cowardly in the past, but the temptation of the inheritance was strong. He reasoned that if the old ancestors were serious about breaking old rules and ways, they needed that inheritance. Otherwise, they were just waiting to rot away. Meanwhile, above the Qingyang sect, more than 10 cultivators began to appear one by one in the sky. The weakest among them was at the nascent soul stage. Their eyes were all locked onto the strange and shocking sight of the four symbols of the heavenly tribulation. Each of them began using their powers to spy on the depths of the tribulation, trying to understand it, but they were left puzzled. One cultivator asked if they were mistaken. How could the person on the flying vessel be at the qi refining stage? A qi refining stage cultivator had summoned a lightning sea that stretched over thousands of miles. Talk about overachieving. They wondered if a peerless heavenly talent had emerged in the Qingyang sect. The old witch, observing the scene, asked if there had ever been a precedent like this before. Meanwhile, the leader of the Shentian sect ordered an immediate investigation into the identity of the cultivator on the vessel. He wanted this talent to join the Shentian sect, thinking it was high time they had someone of this caliber. The leader was irritated, remarking that he didn't want the Taoist friends from the Zixiao sect to slander his sect. The old witch, however, advised caution. She pointed out that while the tribulation was certainly impressive, the cultivator was still only at the qi refining stage. Could they really be sure he would survive this ordeal? Some ancestors speculated that there was no way Jiang could come out alive from such a tribulation. Down below, Jiang was enduring heart-wrenching pain. His meridians were completely destroyed, and his spiritual energy was draining away. But he had placed all his bets on this one tribulation. He couldn't hold on much longer. Then, finally, a system notification appeared. His meridians, destroyed more than 3 times in such a short period, had gained an indestructible attribute due to the continuous strain. The heavenly curse had doubled in power, and as a result, the flow of spiritual energy within him had increased by more than 3 times. His cultivation had reached the 8th layer of the qi refining stage, and his body began to undergo rapid changes. Another system notification informed Jiang that his body had broken once again, but the curse had further strengthened it. His strength had now increased by 250 kilograms. Though the pain of his flesh and skin ripping apart was unbearable, Jiang found hope. The lightning tribulation was pushing his advancement faster than ever. His meridians had even gained a special attribute, and his flow of spiritual energy was now recovering faster than with any previous technique. Feeling a surge of determination, Jiang demanded a stronger lightning tribulation. "Bring it on!" he yelled internally, wanting to test his limits. His system complied, informing him that the heavenly tribulation was still ongoing, but the curse had intensified again. His loss of spiritual energy had increased 20-fold. In that instant, his cultivation realm broke through to the 9th layer. His body strength now stood at an impressive 1,500 kilograms, and the system warned him to prepare. The 4 symbols of heavenly tribulation would descend in just 10 breaths. Master Ziyun, watching from a distance, was amazed that Jiang had survived the strikes of the tribulation without the aid of any elixirs or formations. "Unbelievable," he muttered to himself. As Jiang's cultivation continued to climb, Li Chongqing, too, was in awe. He had never seen anything like this. The old witch, shocked by what she was witnessing, wondered if Jiang could really still be in the qi refining stage. What kind of divine talent was this? Jiang wasn't just enduring the tribulation. He was absorbing its power and using it to advance. The old witch speculated that Jiang's presence would shake the entire Kanglin Dao domain. She guessed that only an ancient inheritance could explain such a phenomenon. If Jiang lived, the Qingyang sect would become an unstoppable force in 100 years. Realizing the stakes, she coldly announced that Jiang couldn't be allowed to live. If the nascent soul ancestors didn't eliminate him now, the Qingyang sect's power would be insurmountable. She ordered the information to be sent back to her sect immediately. Others who had grudges against the Qingyang sect also saw their chance to strike, preparing to take action. But there were also those who felt fear. They considered seeking forgiveness for past grudges, hoping the old hatreds could be forgotten before it was too late. In the sky, the dragon formed from thunder and lightning had fully awakened, and the other 3 divine beasts were also stirring. Heaven and earth themselves seemed ready to reject such a heavenly talent. The old witch was dumbfounded. She had thought the divine beasts were just blessings, manifestations of thunder and lightning. But now, she realized that this was no mere blessing. This was a tribulation for a future immortal, in all its terrifying glory. Jiang Chun was no ordinary cultivator, and this was no ordinary trial. When an immortal-level lightning tribulation descends, it's as if the heavens themselves have declared someone's fate. No force, no sect, not even ancient powers can stop it. If anyone from Qingyang's sect dares to interfere, the entire ancient sect, which has stood for countless ages, will crumble. Some watch with glee as this catastrophic lightning storm brews, while others, without any enmity toward Qingyang's sect, feel a deep sense of loss and regret. An old ancestor murmurs, "If Jiang survives this, immortality will be his destiny." After all, attracting the jealousy of the heavens while still in the qi refining stage is nothing short of a phenomenon. Yet, as powerful as the tribulation is, no one expects what is about to unfold. Deep within the gates of the Qingyang sect, ancient auras begin to stir. Wisps of ethereal, immortal mist rise into the air, causing a great commotion. Celestial cranes take flight, their wings cutting through the mist as though heralding the arrival of something beyond mortal understanding. It's as if immortals are descending upon the world, and countless natural phenomena unfold in quick succession. Then, from the heart of the sect, they appear 3 indistinct figures, standing atop Qingyang sect's sacred gates. Shrouded in mist, draped in flowing white robes, they seem to be embodiments of ancient power. The air around them thickens with divine energy, giving them an immortal-like presence. The Golden Core Elder, with immediate recognition, bows deeply, greeting the first, second, and third ancestors of the Qingyang sect. The third ancestor speaks first, pointing out the intensity of the 4 symbols tribulation, which poses a significant challenge. Second ancestor Azure Luan Goddess inquires why such a powerful tribulation is targeting a mere qi refining cultivator. She senses an unusual, concentrated aura of thunder and lightning, suspecting the interference of a lightning spirit. The first ancestor, Pure Yang Swordmaster, wastes no time, declaring they must save Jiang. He notes that Jiang's talent surpasses even heavenly grade, otherwise, he would never draw such heavenly jealousy. Mocking Li Chongqing's attempt to handle this alone, he confidently states that he will set up the protective formation himself, ensuring the sect's safety in case things spiral out of control. However, the first ancestor has more personal motives. Seeing Jiang's extraordinary potential, he plans to take the young prodigy as his disciple. In his mind, demonstrating his power during this tribulation will surely win Jiang over. Though he keeps these ambitions to himself, the second and third ancestors know exactly what he's after. They share the same desire. The third ancestor teases the first, pointing out that he's probably setting up the formation to steal all the credit and become Jiang's master. They both agree that they can't let him monopolize the opportunity and quickly decide to join him in assisting. Meanwhile, the Golden Core Elder contemplates telling Jiang about the arrival of the 3 ancestors but dismisses the thought, knowing that the sect leader has already accepted Jiang as his disciple, though the 3 ancestors might not take kindly to that revelation. Above the Qingyang sect, the sky begins to warp as intricate formation patterns spread out, powered by vast spiritual energies surging towards the heavens. In a stunning move, the first ancestor becomes the core of the mountain protection formation, instructing Li Chongqing to step aside. He warns that the 4 symbols tribulation will annihilate anyone below his level, adding that Jiang will be under his protection from now on. Li Chongqing, seething with frustration, grinds his teeth but says nothing. Second ancestor Azure Luan Goddess follows suit, revealing her assessment that this tribulation is likely controlled by a lightning spirit, urging caution. Both first and third ancestors are taken aback to see her joining them, and behind her, spiritual energy converges, forming the vague image of an azure wand spreading its wings across the sky. Not to be outdone, the third ancestor jumps in, asserting that Zhang's lightning-absorbing physique aligns with the Thunder Tao and makes him better suited to be his disciple. The great powers from various forces watching the spectacle are stunned. Meanwhile, Li Chongqing internally debates whether to inform the ancestors that he has already taken Zhang as a disciple but ultimately decides against it. If he reveals this now, he might lose his life in the aftermath. He resolves to find a secluded place to cultivate after Zhang's tribulation, hoping to reach the Grand Ascension stage. Amid this chaotic showdown, the heavenly Tao above the Sea of Lightning grows more enraged, fiercely eradicating anyone who interferes with the tribulation. The power of the lightning surges to an extreme level, but it still abides by the natural laws. It won't exceed the strength appropriate for a foundation stage cultivator. Zhang Chun, however, is barely clinging to life. Blood spills from his mouth, and he stares in disbelief at the ever-growing might of the tribulation. How did it get so strong? He wonders. Then, a system notification appears. The notification informs Zhang that the tribulation has intensified due to the interference of Qingyang sect's 3 ancestors. Their meddling has attracted the attention of the lightning spirit, increasing the tribulation's severity and lowering his chances of survival from 60% to a meager 30%. Even worse, the ancestors themselves are now at risk of perishing alongside him if he fails. Zhang can hardly believe it. Those ancestors have turned his life-or-death battle into an even more dangerous ordeal. Frustrated, Zhang pleads with them to stop helping. But of course, they can't hear his thoughts. The first ancestor, with unwavering confidence, assures Zhang, "Leave it to me. Just watch and learn." Summoning the Yang God Sword technique, the Qingyang sect's supreme legacy technique, the first ancestor wields a sword that fuses heaven and earth with the pure energy of Yang. Every slash from this sword purifies the world, severing even the greatest of evils. But as powerful as the technique is, Zhang can't help but notice something unsettling. The dragon within the tribulation seems to be getting larger. Its power is so vast and overwhelming that it feels like the weight of countless mountains pressing down from the sky. Zhang struggles to catch his breath, realizing that the true challenge has only just begun. The dragon's immense aura dominates the heavens, a force so terrifying that even the first ancestor can feel the pressure bearing down on him. With every passing second, the lightning storm escalates, and the stakes grow higher. Zhang stands at the center of it all, knowing that one misstep will mean not just his end, but the end of everything Qingyang sect has built. The power of the true dragon was beyond measure, leaving Zhang paralyzed with fear. He couldn't move an inch. To make things worse, the other masters seemed baffled. They claimed the dragon was merely interfering with the tribulation, dismissing it as a trivial matter. "It's just a tribulation for a mere qi refining cultivator," one of them muttered, as though this terrifying event was nothing out of the ordinary. But the first ancestor wasn't convinced. "That dimwit dragon. It made my blazing yang vanish completely," he growled. Though the tribulation was in the same realm as him, he felt its strength growing. Undeterred, he unsheathed his long sword, summoning a flurry of tiny sword rays that ripped through the space, leaving cracks in reality. The true dragon spirit roared back, its fury growing as the thunder essence continuously empowered it. The dragon's strength increased with every moment, fueled by the very rules of destruction themselves. The conflict was so intense that it triggered the early signs of an immortal-level heavenly tribulation. Zhang, standing at the epicenter of the chaos, could only watch in awe and horror. His old first ancestor was fighting with unparalleled ferocity. Second ancestor voiced her concerns. "Isn't he making things worse? If this continues, the lightning tribulation might transform into a full-fledged immortal-level tribulation." Her feelings of unease grew stronger with each passing moment. She urged the first ancestor to step away from the zone of lightning tribulation, but it was already too late. The first ancestor realized with dread that he couldn't easily retreat. A vast sea of lightning surged forth, each bolt brimming with boundless power, all carrying the force of a heavenly tribulation. His escape route was blocked by the true dragon spirit, and now he was trapped. Zhang began to understand why the system had warned him earlier that the 3 ancestors might perish alongside him. The first ancestor's relentless fighting was escalating the tribulation to terrifying levels. A system notification flashed before Zhang's eyes. First ancestor is in grave danger. The constant provocation has enraged the source of the Thunder Tao, amplifying the tribulation's strength. Zhang's success rate of surviving the tribulation has dropped to 20%. Zhang's heart sank. He was still only at the great completion of the qi refining stage, yet the tribulation strikes packed the power of a foundation establishment cultivator in its final stages. Some bolts even matched the full might of a false core stage expert. There was only one way for Zhang to survive. He had to break through to the foundation establishment stage, and he had to do it now. In a desperate move, Zhang made a bold decision to shatter his dantian and activate the curse. It was a gamble, but it might just give him a chance to survive until death itself came knocking. By allowing the tribulation to enter his body and destroy his dantian, he hoped to drain away all his spiritual energy and force a breakthrough to the foundation establishment stage. Soul ancestors watching from the sidelines thought Zhang had lost his mind as he plunged deeper into the heart of the tribulation. He needed to expel the tribulation energy quickly, but it wasn't that simple. The tribulation had now morphed into something infinitely closer to a golden core tribulation, a force capable of eradicating even those at the false core stage. The moment a random lightning bolt entered Zhang's body, it obliterated his dantian. His internal organs ruptured, and decay began to set in. The system delivered another brutal notification. 86 of your meridians have been destroyed by the tribulation's destructive force. Your indestructible dantian has been damaged. This wasn't just any tribulation. It was nearing the strength of a false core stage, something Zhang couldn't ignore. Yet another notification followed swiftly. The curse effect has activated and is now repairing your body, gathering twice the amount of spiritual energy lost from your dantian. Your cultivation has reached the quasi-foundation establishment realm, and your strength now measures 2,000 kilograms. But that wasn't all. While Zhang's power grew, the first ancestor was bound by the true dragon spirit, helpless to interfere with Zhang's tribulation. The white tiger spirit suddenly roared across the heavens, its cry shaking both earth and sky. Bolts of lightning, shaped like ferocious tigers, slammed down with the great Tao of Gengjin emanating from them, the aura of slaughter palpable in the air. Even Golden Core Elder trembled in fear at Zhang's potential fate. This isn't like scattered thunder. This is a true catastrophe, he whispered, watching helplessly as the first ancestor remained trapped by the dragon spirit, unable to save Zhang in time. Li Chongqing, carrying his sword, stepped forward, declaring that he would protect Zhang. A brilliant streak of light tore across the sky, a cold ray of divine brilliance that shattered the lightning tribulation, scattering it into countless fragments. Most of the energy was dispersed, though a small portion still struck Zhang, sending him reeling in agony. Zhang's consciousness began to fade, and his life force ebbed away. The Gengjin murderous energy had pierced him through, leaving only the faint beating of his heart to remind him he was still alive. The system notification confirmed his worst fears. Your body is withering. Your dantian is shattered. Your meridians are severed, and your spiritual energy is rapidly draining. But then, the curse took full effect, amplifying the healing process fivefold. Zhang's body, meridians, and dantian were completely restored, stronger than ever before. Zhang, in disbelief, realized that not only had he survived, but his dantian had become tougher than before. He could feel the surging spiritual energy in his body, pushing him to new heights. The system once again informed him, after dying and being reborn, you have acquired the trait of nirvana. You can now be reborn with blood in the future and will grow stronger every time you face death. His spiritual energy surged outward, forming a barrier that scattered all the remaining lightning. As the system confirmed his breakthrough to the foundation establishment realm and his new strength of 3,000 kilograms, Zhang marveled at his newfound power, thinking, this heavenly curse is truly something else. Reverse amplification. It's perfect for someone as talentless as me. He made a mental note to thank the sect leader for stepping in to save his life at the most critical moment, even if it wasn't intentional. Zhang vowed to repay him someday. Li Chongqing, meanwhile, observed Zhang with suspicion. Strange. His body was destroyed, yet now it's fully restored. He's even broken through to the foundation establishment realm. He hoped his new disciple could survive the upcoming tribulations. As Li Chongqing swung his sword to fend off the attacks of the white tiger spirit, the powerful figures watching from afar began plotting. Master Ziyun smirked, saying that Li Chongqing was courting death. According to Ziyun, for the sake of an unrisen prodigy, 2 powerful figures had been sacrificed. The Qingyang sect was now doomed, or at the very least severely crippled. Another master gave a swift command. Report back to the mountain gate. gather the troops, and prepare to carve up Qingyang sect's resource territory. But then they all saw it, Jiang riding a flying vessel straight toward the white tiger spirit in the middle of the tribulation. In disbelief, they cried out, "Has he gone insane?"